The NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Edge Boost. Bank and bill for better. Sign up today, edgeboost.bet. With the promo code SGPN, get a $25 deposit bonus. We're also brought to you by NYR Bets. Claim a $200 deposit match bonus today by going to nyrBets.com/SGPN200. Promo code SGPN200. And welcome, everybody, to the NBA Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It is currently Wednesday morning, May 14th, around 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Apologies for the late start. I actually was not supposed to be on the show today, but Terrell's Wi-Fi is acting up again, so I ended up tilling it at the last minute. So got Reichel joined again by Lonte Smith. Together, we're going to break down the two games for the Wednesday card. Should be fun. Could potentially be the last game in each of these two series, so we'll see what happens. Lonte, I'll ask you, what's up? How's it going with you?
Doing pretty good, man. Just ready for tonight, and hopefully we get some good action. Two good games last night, so hopefully that carries over to tonight.
Yep, I do want to start off quickly with the recap of what happened yesterday. Before we get into any of that, though, a quick reminder that we do have a discount code on the merch store right now. Limited time offer. The DGens line of gear is live on the merch store. And to celebrate, we're taking 20% off everything with the promo code DGens. Use DGens at checkout for 20% off everything in the merch store. Anyway, starting off with the recap of the two games. First of all, Cleveland led by 19. And then kind of a summary of the entire series. They blew it, and Indiana came back and they won. I did like Indiana plus the points. I thought that the spread was insane with Mitchell being banged up. He played better than I thought he would. Kind of a weird ending there where he missed 3 free throws, then made a three-pointer. But still, Indiana got all the baskets they needed late. Halliburton was great. Nembhard made some big shots as well. Thomas Bryant had a good flurry in the fourth quarter, or the third and fourth quarter, when Turner wasn't really doing anything for most of the game. But all 5 starters for the Pacers scored double digits, and Cleveland really had 2 guys show up for the entire game. 2.5 if you want to include Jerome for 11 minutes. But Mitchell and Mobley combined for 59 of their 105 points. I'll ask you, though, for starters, what was your main takeaway from the game? Anything surprise you? Where do you want to start?
The spread actually did surprise me. I thought that was a little bit disrespectful to the Pacers and how well they've been playing. I mean, credit to them. They are as resilient as they come. I mean, they don't blink at all. They play the same level. I thought that after the first quarter, it looked like the Cavs kind of just like punted on it. Like, I don't know if they quit or like it didn't look, they had no energy. They had no flow. No. And then they got some things going when they inserted Ty Jerome in the game, and they kind of got the energy level back up. And it's like, okay, well, maybe we can make this a game. They cut it to 1. And then I think it was Nembhard who got the big and one to put him up 5.
I don't know if Garland actually fouled him or not, but it was an and one by Nembhard.
Yeah, so they cut it to 1. I thought that was a big basket, and then I think they cut it to 2 again, and then Tyrese had the and one, and that kind of just put it away. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, credit to Pacers, man. They are gritty. They never give up. The Cavs, I just didn't like what I saw from them at the end. I mean, they played hard at the beginning of the game, and then like towards the end. Yeah, but in the middle, they just lacked energy. They kind of got away from Mobley and Jared Allen. Jared Allen didn't play a ton in the second half at all. But yeah, man, the Cavs, I mean, injury luck just hit them at the worst time. The credit to the Pacers, though, man. The Pacers came out, exuded their will. I feel like their pace and their intensity never wavers. So that is a credit to them. Cavs, just bad injury luck, man.
I mean, you're mentioning injuries because I know Mitchell has been banged up, but to be honest, I don't know if it actually mattered. As the series went on, there was one growing takeaway from me, which was the Cavaliers are pretty soft. And you could argue that, once again, this is a team that does not have a ton of experience. They did win a Game 7 last year at home against Orlando, then lost to Boston because they got injured. But you're looking at the actual supporting cast and everybody who contributed yesterday. You basically had 2 guys. It felt like, as you mentioned, the effort, only 2 guys actually looked like they wanted to be there. And that was Mitchell, who was going to keep shooting because nobody else wanted to shoot, and Mobley, who had quietly a pretty solid game as he ended up finishing with 24 and 11. That was it. I mean, Garland was terrible. He had 11 points on 4 of 16 shooting. He also gave up the and one to Nembhard there. Foul or not, the point is they isolated against him, and he gave up a bucket. Jared Allen was a non-factor. He had 9 points, 4 rebounds. Strus had a message in the group chat telling everybody to show up and be ready, and he went 0 for 9, so not exactly a good look. He had 0 points. Hunter, I thought, played hard, so at least he tried. He's got a messed up finger, but he tried his best, had a 4-point play in the second half. And Jerome was the break in case of emergency option for Atkinson because he didn't have any other moves. And I thought Jerome actually played pretty well, but you're just looking at the Cavs who looked like they were either one piece away or just extremely immature, and they fell apart. And there was one stretch in the third quarter where I don't think they made a shot for like 6 minutes.
Yeah,
And
like 7 minutes. Yeah.
Indiana came back and took the lead. And the thing about the Pacers is the fact that this team never quits. And if you want to talk about the mental toughness and the overall grit that the Pacers have, it sounds like a cliche, but we're looking at the Knicks and the Pacers probably playing in the Eastern Conference Finals, and there is one common theme. They come back from a lot of deficits.
Yeah.
Both teams really never roll over, and I do think in today's NBA with three-point variance and just based on what we've seen with the unpredictability of actual games in the middle of them, you can come back from any deficit, basically. And it feels like these two teams have excelled in that area of maybe getting off the bad starts, not immediately punting the game, and clawing their way back, and they did. And Indiana clawed their way back in the second quarter there, because they were within one, I think, at the end of the first half. Then Cleveland scored a couple points late. They made it to like 5 or 6, I think, at half, but maybe 3. But you get my point. Indiana was down a ton, thought maybe they'd roll over. They didn't. They came back. They punched Cleveland in the mouth. Cleveland didn't respond, and Indiana won. So nice job of the Pacers to win the series. 5 is kind of crazy in hindsight. Because I don't think anybody picked Indiana to win that series in 5. Garland, I thought, was horrific ever since he called out Tyler Hero in that Miami series. He called out Hero for his defense, at which point everyone said, you don't guard anybody either. And Garland got torched. And then he missed 2 games against Miami, and then he ended up being terrible in the entire series against Indiana. I am going to ask you, though. I know Halliburton had a great game. We can focus on Indiana, but to be honest, they're going to play next round. So we can talk about them more during the series preview over the next week or so. For Cleveland, though, because they are officially out of the postseason, they won 64 games. They won 1 game in the second round after beating Miami by the biggest margin of all time in a 4-game sweep. So I'm going to ask you, in terms of success or failure, I think we agree the season's a failure. They set the expectations higher mid-season, but when you're the 1 seed and you have what seems to be a very open Eastern Conference, with Boston on the ropes and now with Tatum being out for the year, you're looking at all the opportunities, and you lose in 5, you lose all 3 home games in a playoff series, that's pretty rough. I think it's a failure of a season, but maybe you agree or disagree. I do want to ask you, 64 wins, though, where do you go from here? We're assuming they might run it back, but do you think they should be making a move for maybe another potential star? What would you do?
What I would do is I would try to find a wing and a backup point guard. If you don't believe in Ty Jerome, if you think he's just like a regular season player, then you might.
He's a free agent anyway, so he's.
He is. Okay, cool. Yeah. So you might want to just.
That's why they're running jokes going on that Jerome every time he missed a shot was losing millions of dollars. That's why the joke was going on.
Well, somebody will pay him. Trust me. There's a franchise.
Not 80, but somebody's going to pay him.
Yeah, Charlotte might give him 80. I can promise you that.
Oh, the Nets might give him 80. Who knows? The Nets need players. Who knows?
Yeah. So But yeah, I think they need to combat that Okoro, Dean Wade, Sam Merrill, maybe combine those guys and get them just one guy and another backup point guard. You kind of got to make a decision with Jared Allen if you're going to like really effective in the regular season. But we saw whenever it's time to, play in a pace type of game, he's not really, there. They were more effective when Mobley was on the floor. I think they made their run when Mobley was at the 5. But again,
they put Hunter at the 4, I think.
They did, yeah, and they were more effective. And I think we talked about that prior to this series starting. Now I don't think it would be a Jared Allen series because of the pace and some of the things that Indiana did. So yeah, I mean, they kind of got to make a decision there. Do you think Mobley will be better as a 5 option? Then you run into that Bam situation, like is he better at the 4? Is he better at the 5? Like it kind of matchup dependent. But yeah, I would just say, get you a veteran point guard, somebody who can run the show if something happens to Garland, or if Garland's healthy, that can come in and initiate the offense. Because they didn't have any guys to initiate the offense. They had Donovan doing everything, which kind of wore him down in a sense. Because Garland, credit to him for playing, probably shouldn't have been playing. I know the internet and the media kind of got to him there, but
if it was the regular season, you would have missed at least
right. Yeah, so I credit to him for playing, but he clearly was not. He was not healthy enough to play. But he tried to gut it out, gave what he had. Credit to him for that. But yeah, I would just work on a backup point guard and a wing player to kind of complement Hunter. I think you probably want to start Hunter and then get somebody off the bench that can give you some instant offense type of thing. So those two things, I think, and they'll be right back in a decent place. I don't think they're going anywhere.
Yeah, I do think Cleveland is still positioned pretty well in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Especially if Giannis gets traded to the West. Suddenly you have like basically no talent in the East, and the Cavs might walk into the 1 seed again. But it's not the point. The point is they have to actually have some playoff success. Atkinson won Coach of the Year, and it felt like when you're looking at what this roster has right now, there are a couple of glaring holes for postseason basketball that you can get away with in the regular season, but not in the postseason.
Yeah,
I think there's two. You could argue three, because I don't know if Allen and Mobley can actually work together with the lack of spacing. Then again, Hartenstein and Chet have been working out pretty well, so maybe it just depends on which actual combination you have. But you could argue that Mobley and Allen might now work together in playoff basketball. That's the least of my concerns right now, but I'm at least going to throw it out there because of spacing potential concerns there. The main issue for me is twofold. One is the wings that they have. I don't think that they're good enough. You're looking at Strus, who I know was good in the beginning of the series, but you're throwing him. You mentioned Dean Wade. You have Okoro, who I don't think is very good, to be honest.
Yeah,
I understand he's a good defensive player, but he has no offensive talent. That's a bit of a problem. I think they need to improve the small forward position, obviously.
Yeah.
No offense to Strus. I just think they need a better scoring option who can maybe even create off the dribble. They didn't have enough creators. And Garland, who was injured, who I know would spam pick and rolls most of the time, but since he was injured, couldn't move as well, and the shot was broken. Mitchell can do a lot in isolation. That's basically it. Even Mobley's not exactly a big isolation scorer. He can score in isolation. That's not exactly his bread and butter. They needed another guy who could actually create his own shot, and it felt like they didn't have that. And when Indiana's able to make it difficult on them by applying full court pressure just to tire out the ball handlers, you're going to have some problems. And that's why Cleveland's offense went stagnant, because they couldn't really create any opportunities off the dribble.
Yes.
And that was why Cleveland's offense didn't score a basket for like 6 minutes. So they need to address that. That also opens up a separate question. Do I think Garland and Mitchell can coexist in playoff basketball? I do not. I think they're too small defensively. Garland's listed at 6'1". Mitchell's listed at 6'3". That's a very small backcourt. Now, I understand the counterpoint is we still have Allen, we still have Mobley, we have rim protection. We can combat some of those issues. But damn, Garland got put in just constant switches. The isolations were disgusting. Nembhard's so much bigger than Garland that he was able to just get to the rim. The end, one you could argue wasn't a foul, wasn't the point. The point is that Garland got targeted, and Mitchell's not exactly a great defender either. He tries, but he's 6'3" as a shooting guard. So I think the lack of size is a serious problem. What now? I would actually consider moving on from Garland. I know it's going to sound harsh because he was injured, and you could argue that is the excuse built in, but they might run it back. They might. But I do think the lack of size is concerning. Garland's also had injury issues over the years, so I question how healthy he actually can be for an entire season. And they need to make a couple of tweaks, not serious, like, I'd say roster-altering moves, but I think they need to make at least some adjustments, and Garland would be the expendable piece for me. So that's kind of where I look at it. I don't know if you think I'm being too harsh. I think they will run it back, by the way. I don't see them making any of these moves. But I do think the lack of proper shot creation, isolation situations in terms of depth, the wing depth isn't that great. I think that Garland and Mitchell are too small together. There are some tweaks you can make, and we'll go from there. They'll wait for the right offer for Garland. If they don't get it, they're not going to force it. But I do think Garland and Mitchell are too small defensively to actually, I'd say, work in a playoff atmosphere. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's pretty fair. That's pretty fair.
So that's kind of my main thought there. 64 wins, good season, but they had bigger expectations. Anyway, moving on to the late game, which was the Thunder, who outlasted the Nuggets. Joker had a monster game. Unfortunately, did not matter because the Thunder took over the fourth quarter. For the actual game itself, Thunder won 112-105. I did like Denver plus the points and the under. Both those got there. Lou Dort, though, killed my lock. I had the under on his points and assists, and he was cruising at 9.5. Then he made 3 3-pointers in about 3 minutes, and he actually saved the Thunder's season. But the Thunder had 6 guys in double figures. All 5 starters scored 12-plus points. For Denver, Joker had 44 and 15. Murray had 28 points on 27 shots. I thought he was horrible. Porter Jr. was useless. He was 1 of 7. Gordon was fine. He had 13 points. Brown was not very good, 3 of 12. and the bench combined for 3 of 13 shooting. Westbrook was 1 of 7, and he had more air balls than made baskets.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to ask you, because the Nuggets were in a great spot to actually win the game. They were up 8 entering, or sorry, they were up, doing the math in my head here. They were up 8 entering the fourth quarter, and then the Thunder outscored them 34-19. Joker played 44 minutes, but he had no help at all, and the Thunder, just their depth overwhelmed them. The defense was great again. I saw Jalen Williams hit a couple of big shots. Dort hit a couple of big shots. Shea definitely helped end the game. He was not great. I'd say he was fine for most of it, but he definitely came through in the final 5 minutes or so. I'm going to ask you, because the Thunder, of course, have been in a couple of wars with Denver, and we think they're the better team. What are your takeaways from that game? Because for a team that seemed to be overwhelmed early in the series, they definitely have grown up very quickly. And I think this game and Game 4 would have been games the Thunder would have lost earlier in this series. But it feels like Denver is pushing them to the brink, and iron sharpens iron. And it feels like the Thunder are finally starting to adjust to the, I'd say, mental toughness aspect of playoff basketball. A gutsy win, good for them. But I'll ask you, any takeaways?
Yeah, a couple things. That's a great team win. You talked about all those guys stepping up in those specific spots. Dort was great down the stretch. Hartenstein was
out of
good.
nowhere too. He was terrible for the entire game.
Yeah, he was. He was. So I think that was a great team win for them. 2, credit to Dagnall for adjusting in game. He was not he's not been the best he's not been the best in game adjuster. He's been better from game to game, but in game he's been pretty bad. But he left Shea on the bench, which was good in that second quarter when they had that stretch to cut it to 4. I think they cut it to 4 at the end of the half. So Shea was on the bench for most of that, and the only reason he got back in the game was because I want to say either J-Dub or somebody picked up like a second foul, and he kind of just wanted to play it safe, and he brought Shea back in. But Shea was just being stagnant with the ball, trying to hit home runs. Once again, he wasn't moving the ball, and when he was out of the game, he allowed other guys to initiate. Caruso hit a couple big threes. Aaron Wiggins hit a 3. Casey Wallace was really good defensively. So credit to their bench and credit to Dagnall for kind of seeing things in game and adjusting to them on the fly. And then, of course, Shea was better down the stretch. Their defense was amazing in the fourth quarter. I think they started off with Denver being 1 of 9 from the field. A lot of their points came from the free throw line, as has a bunch of them. The Thunder just get a little bit too over aggressive, which leads to early foul trouble and getting to the line.
To be fair, though, the Nuggets only had 13 free throw attempts in the entire game. So they definitely did a good job as the game went on of not fouling.
Yeah. So, and I think, the Nuggets are what they are. I mean, it's just not a deep team. They got a great 1-2 punch, but 28 on 27 shots that's good defense. I mean, Jamal's taking those tough shots, and you just gonna live with the results. Joker hit a couple insane, that 3 to tie the game.
Lakers fans got a bunch of PTSD from that, and you're a Lakers fan. So.
Yeah, oh my God, that was incredible. But I thought the Thunder showed extreme poise, trust in one another. I thought on the J-Dub 3 to go up 3, which you could kind of see it, like it was.
He was wide open, but thank God he made that shot.
Yeah, man. Because if you see the first reversal before it got to J-Dub, like Dort was open, like, and he was like, should I shoot this? And then he swung it back to Shea, and then Shea hit him in the corner. So I thought that kind of ball movement is what they kind of need to do in that zone, and they figured it out at certain spots, but they just weren't consistent enough with it. And like I said, they looked better with Shea on the bench as far as ball movement. And once Shea got in and he realized, hey, okay, obviously they're loading up on me, so let me get off the ball, give it to J-Dub, let me come off of a pin down, work in the middle of the zone. Once he realized that, then they started having more offensive success, and then the Thunder that success allowed them to get the Nuggets out of that zone, and then they ran to the high pick and roll stuff where Shea could get in the paint and different things of that nature. So credit to the Thunder, credit to Dagnall for adjusting the game. That was a really good, some really good adjustments by him. But overall team win, man. I thought Casey Wallace, Caruso, timely threes, Wiggins, Joe didn't do much, but he was quality here and there defensively, getting a few stops. But I thought Jay Will, of course. So man, I thought it was a complete team effort. Shea brought him home at the end. Shea and J-Dub brought him home at the end. But I thought it was a complete team effort. Whatever, that was a great win for them.
It was. I mean, the issue you run into for Denver, which I'm not going to spend too much time on because I keep mentioning this every game, they have no depth at all. And when you're in the playoffs, the thick of it, and you're playing every other day, basically, Denver used to have 5 guys. Now they have about 3. Because you have Joker, you have Murray, who was not very good last game, and you have Gordon, who's made some big shots, but he was not very good yesterday. I thought he was fine. Porter Jr. can't move. It's not even his fault. He needs shoulder surgery. He's just playing through it, so it's not even his fault. And Westbrook's been horrific. So Denver and Brown was not very good yesterday either. So
yeah, open shots.
You're
Though,
looking
he just
at
didn't hit him.
OKC, though, has Wallace. They have Caruso, even Jalen Williams, not J-Dub. Jalen Williams played 10 minutes yesterday. Wiggins played 11. They have actual depth. They have like 8 or 9 guys they can actually afford to sit Shea for a couple minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Joker played the entire fourth quarter. The whole team was exhausted. That's the main theme here. A lot of shots are bricking fourth quarter because of the intensity that Oklahoma City has. They are out of gas, Denver, and they can't bench anybody because they have no other pivots. They have 3 guys because Westbrook and Porter Jr. have basically been zeros for the last 2 games. And Denver's playing 3 on 8.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what's happening right now.
Strawther got it into 3.
Yes, he did. Good for Strawther. He's on the board. But you get what I'm trying to say, though. Like, Denver shot 41.2% from the floor. They shot 28.3% from 3. They took 46 3-pointers and shot 28%. If you want to get into game 4 at home, Denver in that game shot 45 3-pointers. They went 24.4%. And they shot 31% from the floor in game 4. This team's running out of gas. And there's something they can do. They just don't have enough bodies. So I think Oklahoma City, good job by them. The intensity is wearing Denver down. We'll see if Denver forces a game 7, but nice win for OKC, and then we'll move on. Anyway, time to move on to the 2 games for the Wednesday card. Before we get to that, the reminder that we are brought to you by our sponsor, Edge Groups, because they are the first ever bank account for bettors, ensuring that all government transactions are approved. They have usage fees, no minimum balance, also cash rewards. You could also use the 100% approval for all betting deposits. And when you do sign up for EdgeBoost.bet, use the promo code SGPN, deposit $25 and Edge's match deposit, EdgeBoost.bet promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by NYR Bets because the Preakness right on the corner. There's no better time to get in on the action with NYR Bets. Sign up today with the promo code SGPN200, score a $200 deposit match bonus. Don't wait. Head to nyrabets.com/SGPN200 to claim your $200 deposit match bonus today. nyrabets.com/SGPN200. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy because they just launched a new game mode of ladders with the 5-year times your entry by watching your favorite players climb the ladder. You'd also sign up with the promo code NBASGPN to get a special pick and a first-time visit offer up to 1K bonus cash on fantasy promo code NBASGPN. Welcome back, everyone, to the NBA Gaming Podcast. Finished recapping what happened on Wednesday. Time to move on Tuesday. Time to move on into the games for Wednesday. Starting off with the first game, a potential final game of the series. The Knicks are traveling to Boston to take on the Tatumless Celtics. Tatumless Celtics, though, laying 4.5. For this game, the over-under is at around 207.5. For the injury report, of course, Tatum is done for the year. He had successful surgery on his Achilles. He might be out for all of next year. Not good for Boston. Besides that, though, Hauser might play. But honestly, Tatum is the only thing we're talking about for the injury report. For the Knicks, everyone's healthy, so we'll see how they look. Now, the Knicks have been great on the road. I believe they are still undefeated on the road this postseason. I think they are 5-0 on the road. Knicks, though, are getting 4.5. You could argue that Boston, without Tatum, is no chance. You'd argue that at home, maybe the Knicks overlook Boston, and Boston shows up and actually wins a home game here. But I'll ask you, first of all, does 4.5 seem right to you as a spread?
Yeah, it's about right. I mean, what would they land with, like 8.5 or no? They were laying like doubles in game 1. And then you factor in the must-win situation with the Tatum, and you get about 4.5. Yeah, about 4.5. I think it's about right. But I like Boston here. I think Boston shows up. It's typical Doc Rivers theory, as he said on Bill Simmons' podcast. I think he's going to get a home run effort, like a dead cat bounce from the Celtics. I think those guys. I mean, the issue is it's not like they've been playing bad for a specific. It's just they have a stretch where they just.
It's always the third quarter and fourth quarter.
Yeah, and it's just pockets of the game where it's just like, hey, just don't take 7 threes in a row. Instead, maybe take 2 or 3 and then kind of get to the line. Like I don't. I mean, I know a lot of people have different opinions. I don't care about the threes. It's just because a lot of the threes that they're getting are literally wide open. So I mean, why wouldn't you take them? I have an issue with the timeliness of some of the threes in the situation. So like time and situation is the most important thing in basketball. And you can't, when you got a chance to put the game away and you're up 6 or 7, you can't just go down and shoot 5 or 6 threes, and most of them are ISO threes. So I think they're gonna adjust to that. I think they're gonna get to the rim without JT on the floor. I think they'll pretty much. I don't know what they're gonna do with Porzingis, but what I would do is I would put him on the floor. No, I would put him on the floor, space him out, put him in a corner, and make allow driving lanes for Jaylen Brown, for Drew Holiday to kind of do some post up stuff and things of that nature. But I like the Celtics here. I think the Celtics respond in a big way. I think they cover the number, and I think the Knicks close them out at home. But and I think if you gave the Knicks some true serum, I know they want to win the game, but I think they would. This is just me, but probably would rather close them out in front of their fans. But again, I like
honestly, they'd rather get the home games against Indiana.
Yeah,
they'd have home court against Indiana, so I think they're fine with just winning on the road if they really.
Yeah, that's true. Can. But Knicks fans will tell you, hey, let's close them out at home. But
I think Knicks fans just want to win the damn series because they thought they had no chance of winning the series going in.
Yeah, I mean, even up 2-0, they still thought they had
correct. I think everybody did.
Yeah, but yeah, I like the Celtics here. I think they bounce back and actually put together a full game and not blow a lead. So. I like the Celtics here. Credit to the Knicks. I think they're going to win the series now, but I think the Celtics put up a fight and they go back to New York 3-2.
I'm going to go back to the bread and butter for the series. Give me Celtics first half.
Yeah, I
mentioned it for the game yesterday. I thought Cleveland winning 8 was nuts because Mitchell, I didn't know how healthy he was going to be, and Indiana's also been good against this team, and Indiana won outright. So Cleveland got a bunch of respect, which I did not think they earned. But I do think you're looking at the Celtics, who have not been the greatest at home so far in the postseason. You're looking at the Knicks, who have been unbeaten on the road. They're a good road team. I think the Knicks win this game, but I do think Boston, like Cleveland, gets off to a good start. I think that Boston will have a solid amount of effort early in these games, as we've seen. The Knicks kind of coast for the first 24 minutes in a wait-and-see feeler option, and then as soon as they make some adjustments at halftime, it's go time, and they come back and they win the game. I see a similar story here. Boston's covered the first half spread in every game. They've been up by 10-plus points at half in every game. I can see Boston giving that dead cat bounce for the first 24 minutes, but then the Knicks make some adjustments, Boston falls apart. That's kind of what I'm expecting here. I like Boston first half, first quarter. I think they'll show up with heart like Cleveland did yesterday, and then eventually it's going to hit the fan, and they're going to end up imploding. So I'll go with the Knicks to win the game for value. I'll go with the Celtics first half, though. I think that White and Pritchard have to have solid games. You mentioned Porzingis. To read off the numbers, by the way, in the series, he's averaging 5 points per game on 27.8% shooting, and he is 1 of 5 from 3. You mentioned putting him in the corner. They might let him shoot. He's been horrible. I'd rather see Kornet, to be honest. I think Porzingis has been that bad. I think Kornet would give them more if you're asking right now, because clearly Porzingis is battling illness. He can't move. He's doing nothing on both sides of the ball. I think he should play less minutes. I think that he has been horrific for basically the entire series. Yeah. He played 24 minutes in the last game. He's had 0 blocks in 3 of the 4 games. He's had 1 steal in all the games combined. So it's not even like he's having a great defensive impact. I think that Porzingis is right now damaged goods. You mentioned what you would do with him. I would bench him. I think Kornet gives you more energy and can give you a bit more rebounding. Porzingis never been a great rebounder, and he's averaging 4 rebounds in the series. He's had 4 rebounds in every game. I would use more Kornet. At least Kornet, even though he's not talented, can give you some hustle. He can give you some second chance points, but he tries really hard and he can actually move. Porzingis can't move. Yeah. So I think I got to stay away from Porzingis here. Maybe he ends up stepping up, but I doubt it. I think he looks like a mess right now. So I do think for this game, give me Boston first half. Give me Knicks full game. I'll back the Knicks with Brunson to make enough shots late. I still think the Celtics will get 2 3-point happy in isolation situations late. And Brown, yes, I know, can have a solid game against Orlando. He had, what do you have, like 36? In that one game Tatum didn't play in?
Yeah.
Like he was playing well, but I think the turnovers will be a problem. Jaylen Brown's facilitating can be an issue. I question if there will be too much isolation with Brown being the alpha guy now. I think the Knicks win this game. But I think Boston, if they're going to win, has to come out strong. So give me Boston first half, Knicks full game. For the total, I'll ask you, because without Tatum, you can argue the ball movement might actually be better, but the shot making might be worse. So I'll ask you, what do you like? Because the Knicks dropped 70 in the second half last game.
Yeah, I like under. I think they'll be able to match up better. I like the Cornette point that you pointed out. I also would match his minutes with Mitchell Robinson because he can kind of battle with him in there, and you're not really worried about the foul trouble. You kind of can put Al on the perimeter to knock down a few shots. So I think Al has to have a big game as well. But I would match Cornette's minutes with Mitchell Robinson because Mitchell Robinson has been one of the X factors and one of the biggest X factors in this specific series with his offensive rebounding and the ability to create second chance shots and those kick out threes. So I would do that. I would match up those 2 minutes. But again, I think defense is going to be the key here. The difference with Tatum on the floor is that they're now going to have to guard Cat with a big. Now that could work out good for both teams because Cat could get over aggressive, post up, get a few charges, or he could just pull them out and knock a lot of threes down. But he hasn't been doing that this series, and that's because Jason Tatum has been on him. So I'm interested to see how they play Cat. But I think pace wise, it'll be similar to what we've saw in the previous 4 or 5 games. So I like the under. I think we may see one team get to 100, but now I would say like 102, 94.
I'm trying to think if a low-scoring game benefits Boston or the Knicks. And I think it used to benefit the Knicks because you'd expect Boston's offense with the three-point shooting, you need some variance to go in your favor. I think a low-scoring game actually benefits Boston in this situation because trying to figure out how they're going to score is definitely an interesting exercise. Of course, you have the de facto, well, if the role players get hot from three. Pritchard and White combine for like 50 points and they'll find a way to win the game. Brown can have a monster game too. Besides the role players getting hot from three, Brown can be very streaky. He's also going to be the main defensive focal point, which is a bit of a problem. Porzingis has been a 0. Horford has not looked great either the last couple games. There are really not many great options for Boston right now. So I think the under benefits Boston too. I'll go with the under in this game with you. I don't feel great about it. I see JR mentioning Brown double-double. I don't mind the rebounds. Somebody has to rebound without Tatum. So I think that Brown rebounds could be a sneaky play for that one. But Boston's offensive options are really not that impressive without Tatum unless a bunch of guys get hot from three. So I'll go with the under with you. I'm picking the Knicks to win, but I think it'll be close. Maybe Boston team total under, but I think it'll be a fun game regardless. I know Knicks fans, I think, want to end it as soon as possible just to finalize the dream scenario of actually beating Boston as roughly like 9-1 dogs. You don't want to let a dead team hang around.
That's fair.
So I think the Knicks are going to come out and try to win this game and try to end it. I think they will, but I see it being a close game, and I see the Celtics starting off strong. So that's my thoughts on that one. Should be a fun game, though. We'll see what happens, but I would really stop playing Porzingis. The guy can't move. He can't shoot. He's not rebounding either. What does Porzingis do for you besides floor spacing when he can't hit a shot? I'm asking because I think Cornette would give them better minutes.
Oh, I think the I just don't know what the illness is. I mean, at times
people think it's like some type. People think it might be mono, or they might think it might be something, but he can't move.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it. Like he can't even like lift. Like sometimes he'll go through the lane and he'll dunk and he'll get a putback. So I'm interested to see how he plays because they're going to have to rely upon him to score because I mean, he's in that situation to score when you got one of your best players out. So I'm banking on him having a good game here. That's one of the reasons why I like this.
They need it.
Yeah, they really need it. They have to have it. They have to have it.
Yeah, you can also keep it in mind that with the Tatum injury and the fact this might be the last game of the season, this might be the last game for a couple of people on this roster in a Celtics jersey. Yeah. So keep that in mind. This team next year might look very different. So there you go.
Yeah, it will.
Yep. It's going to probably have to because of the apron system and the cap and all that stuff. So we'll see what happens. But either way, we'll see if the Knicks complete the once again series here with a win on the road on Wednesday. Moving on, though, to the next game, you have what is, I don't want to say an officially dead series, but damn, we're like 98% there. You have the Warriors against the Timberwolves in a series that nobody's cared about because Curry got injured and the series was over at that point. I was on the Steffi Small show, and I said as soon as the injury happened, the Timberwolves better win every game without Steph in the lineup, and so far they have. So good for them. Not going to, once again, criticize them for getting lucky. Look, you got to beat who's in front of you. Curry got hurt, not their problem. They're going to take care of business. Now, for this game, Timberwolves are laying 10.5. The over-under's at 203.5. Golden State was actually good in the first half of Game 4. Then the pipe dream ended because the Timberwolves outscored them by 21 in the third quarter. Ant remembered, oh yeah, I can just take over a game. And he did. And the game was over at that point. Randall, though, was great. He had 30 plus points.
Really great. Yeah.
And they won by 7. They were up 20 in the fourth quarter. Some garbage time, Kerr, full court pressing, all that stuff. But either way, Minnesota won and covered. I'll ask you, though, I think we're both not picking Golden State to win this game, obviously. The question is, are we picking Minnesota to cover? Do you think Golden State hangs in there? What's your prediction for this game?
Yeah, I think Minnesota wins, but I think the Warriors can be feisty. I think it plays out similar to what we saw in the OKC game last night. I think the Warriors will come out, obviously, home run effort with their back against the wall. One thing you can't do is fake desperation. I think that's what they'll do. Jimmy has to be a lot more assertive. He was horrible last game.
Very passive.
He only shot, I think he had like 4 shot attempts in the first half. He ended up with like 14 points. Kuminga is playing how Butler should be playing. Like I give all credit to Kuminga for not playing at all at the back half of the year and in that first series, and now he's coming in, with his hair on fire. So credit to him for that. But I mean, Jimmy has to be better, and I think he will be better tonight in Minnesota. But again, the Timberwolves team, I trust as far as having the mental fortitude to be able to put a team away when they have to. I mean, they have the players, they have the coach to do so. They've been in this spot before. Well, not the same group of guys, but Ant, their leader, has been in this spot before. McDaniels, Gobert, well, I mean, not Gobert, but Conley, and, all of those guys have been in this situation. I think they'll seize the moment. I think it'll be close all game. I think the Timberwolves make a play or two to put it away, similar to what OKC did. So I'm taking the points with the Warriors. I think we see an incredible effort, but I think the Timberwolves obviously have a little bit too much in the end, especially with that home court. So I'm thinking it plays out a little bit like we saw last night. So I'm going with the Timberwolves to win, but I'll take the Warriors to cover.
Yeah, so I forgot to mention the injury report, by the way. Curry's not playing. That's it. That's the only injury report. He's targeting a Game 6 return. Keyword targeting. If he plays, he'll be crawling out there. But he's going to try to play Game 6. Now, unlike the Knicks and Celtics game, Tatum's not coming back. So the Knicks have multiple chances to win a series against a team without its best player.
Yeah.
Now, you can argue that Curry's aura, gravity, whatever you want to call it, the point is you want to kill Golden State before their best player has a chance to actually return. So I think I don't want to say this is a must-win game for Minnesota, because I do think they would beat the Warriors in one of the 2 games with Steph anyway. But why would you even want to sweat it?
Yeah, exactly.
I think Minnesota has to have the urgency to end the series tonight, knowing that Curry's waiting. And even if you're not scared of Curry right now because of the injury, the point is, why would you want to bother dealing with him if you don't have to?
Exactly.
So Minnesota, I think, will win this game. However, unlike the Celtics, this team has been horrific in the first half of some of these games. And they were good in Game 2. They needed to be. Then they were pretty bad in Game 4. Game 3 and Game 4, they were kind of shaky in the first half. And they let Golden State hang around. But I'll ask you, for this matchup in itself, I think Golden State can keep this close for a half. The problem is when Minnesota, especially Ant, who's been really bad in the first half of these games, but incredible in the second half of these games. If Minnesota ends up getting off to a bad start again, would I be shocked? No, because they've been doing it all series. So I'm going to treat it like basically the Celtics in this one. I think Golden State will look good early. I think they'll keep this game close. Then I think the avalanche comes, and I think that Minnesota blows them out in the third quarter again. So I don't want Minnesota third quarter in this game. The thing that Golden State, I think, needs to do, and I mentioned it when I did the solo pod last episode, they should really full court press more. I don't know if you actually watched the ending of that game because it was over with like
I didn't watch it at all.
Yeah. Golden State cut it to 7 because they full court pressed, and Minnesota had 5 turnovers in the last 3 minutes. This team cannot handle a press. They are very careless with the ball, and I do think Golden State, if you want to try to get creative, you want to invent ways to manufacture defensive stops, I think you got to apply more pressure. You have to try. You got to try something. Your offense isn't good enough. You have to at least try to get more stops. You have to at least try to make I'd say an interesting defensive game plan to throw Minnesota off guard. Because Minnesota in those final 3 quarters basically kind of got whatever they wanted. And then Minnesota stopped trying. And the game got close at the end. But I would full court press more, trying to force some turnovers. That's how I would go about it. But I think I agree with you about Golden State keeping it close. You could argue this team might roll over. I don't think so. I think Butler actually plays well.
Yeah, I think they play well.
So I'll give Kuminga in what could be an audition for another team. I think he'll play well again, but Minnesota wins. I don't mind Minnesota 1-10. I don't mind Golden State first half, but I think Minnesota wins, obviously. So I'll go with that. Thoughts on the total?
Love the under. I haven't been the under all series. I don't think anything changes. You mentioned the press, which could kind of speed the pace up, but
I'm just trying to come up with ideas here because Golden State's kind of running.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I mean, I think that's something that you got to point to if you had success in it. So I don't think Kerr did it with ill intentions. I think he did it because he wanted to, try out something, and if it worked, I think he might implement it a little bit more. And that could speed up the pace a little bit. But I mean, I don't trust either offense to consistently score. It's going to be a time where the Warriors go 6 minutes, 5-6 minutes without scoring. It's going to be a time where the Timberwolves go 5 or 6 minutes without scoring. And hopefully that's, within the same realm. I love the under. I don't think this game gets to 200.
Yeah. It's really tough because I can see a world where Golden State speeds the game up. And Kerr has never quit in any of these games. They might be down 20, and he's full court pressing, trying to foul like 90 feet from the basket. And you're like, what are you even doing? Like, just get out of here. So that could be a problem in the fourth quarter if the game turns into the final 3 minutes turn into 15 minutes because Kerr's just fouling nonstop, which could be very frustrating for the total. But I think I would rather go for maybe a first half under because Minnesota can, in theory, no-show a half, and Golden State's offensive shot-making could be problematic.
Okay, that's fair.
So maybe that's the approach, but I think I agree with you. These games have just been disgusting. Golden State can't score. Like, you're looking at Kuminga, who's been great. Butler had 9 shot attempts last game. Team low -30 in plus-minus. I think he should play better. We'll see. Minnesota might just try to game plan him out of the game and go from there. Podziemski's been horrible. Moody's been terrible. Draymond had 14 last game, but he's been horrible too. I mean, Jackson Davis has no offensive talent besides dunking. And Hield at 13 last game. And they have no bench besides Kuminga. So, look, if I was Kerr, to be honest, just start Kuminga. Just play Kuminga 35 minutes. Like, what are we doing here? Like, your team doesn't have any talent. Kuminga should, by default, play 35-plus minutes in this game. Just start him.
I agree.
It's fine. You have no other talent. It's fine.
Yep.
So maybe Kuminga plays more. Maybe you want to go for a middle or for maybe even a crazy same-game parlay. You go for the under on Golden State team total, but you throw in Kuminga over points. And you go for a crazy reverse correlation option there. But I think I agree with you about the under. I think the Warriors might cover this by making it ugly, but I prefer Warriors first half. So it's a shame. The series might have actually been fun until Curry got hurt, and then the series ended immediately. So, yeah, I think both series end tonight. You think the Celtics survive, but we both think the Warriors are dead.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Okay. Anything else you want to add?
No, that's it.
Okay. That's going to wrap it up for the 2 games we're going to break down for the Wednesday card. Now it's time for the actual lock and dog plays. And then again, Drew, before we get into that, though, a reminder that we're brought to you by Rhythm because they are the home of NBA picks and pros. They're also available for the NBA playoffs, the MLB prop markets, and you can dominate those with Rhythm. You can also build your own model. Very simple and easy to do. You can also try it for free by using the 7-day free trial. When you do sign up for your new account, use the promo codes. 2 different codes, one for a monthly discount, one for an annual discount. 25% off the monthly deal with the promo code 25. 50% off the annual deal with promo code 50. It's Rhythm. Promo code 25 versus 50. Sign up for the free trial, though, for a week by using the link, sportsgamebox.com/RATHMN. We're also brought to you by MyBookie.ag because they are the book to bet every sport. They have the, once again, NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs. They have MLB. They have UFC, you name it. They props in every game as well. They also are available in a ton of locations. Also use crypto for running fast payouts. Easy deposits. When you sign up for your new account, use the promo code SGPN. You get a 100% match up to $1K. Organizations by MyBookie.ag, promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Circle Ultimate Fantasy Football Giveaway, because Circle Resort is giving away the Ultimate Fantasy Football experience for a 12-person league to draft in Vegas and be treated like VIPs for your stay. Winner will receive a 2-night stay at Circle Resort for the entire 12-person league. You'd also draft at a cabana, a stadium swim, with a $5,000 food and beverage credit, limo transportation to and from the airport, welcome party at Legacy Club for the league, and the contest is from May 5th to June 30th. Enter at sportsgamebox.com/circa, sportsgamebox.com/CIRCA. Welcome back, everyone, to the NBA Gambling Podcast. Finished going through the 2 games on the Wednesday card. Now it's time for the lock and dog picks. Lonte, I'll let you go first. What's going to be your lock and dog for the show?
Yeah, so I was going to go Boston full game, but I'm going to take the first quarter -2.5. That's at even money as well. I think they'll come out hair on fire. The Knicks have not started first quarter as well, all playoffs. I don't think that starts here. You're going to get a good initial reaction, and I think that's going to lead to a win. So I'm going to take the Boston Celtics -2.5 for the first quarter at even money. For the dog, I'm going to take a parlay, 25+ points for Jimmy Butler, 25+ points for Jaylen Brown. That'll get you about +185. I think both of those guys have to play well. If you want to go up to 30, I wouldn't like talk you out of it. I think both of those guys have to perform at an elite level. And I think 25 is the baseline of what they're going to get. So +185 for Jimmy Butler and Jaylen Brown, 25+ points.
Okay. So for my lock, I was wondering if I wanted to go for a potential actual game option or a player prop here. I thought about fading Porzingis, but I might save that maybe for my dog, because his points are at 15.5, and I'm not sure he has 15 in the entire series.
Yeah,
like, he's been horrific. I'll probably save that for the dog. For the lock, you know what? I think at the end of the day, I am picking the I think the Celtics actually start off pretty well tonight. So I'll go for it. Give me Boston first half. It's kind of like your first quarter play. I'll branch it out a bit more. I think Boston, with the home crowd, maybe the Knicks come out flat again. Who knows? They've been bad in every first half of this series. Boston, though, first half -3.5 is -112. I'll take it. I think Boston comes out again, plays well. Knicks maybe overlook Boston, and you see Boston come out firing. Saw that with Cleveland in the game yesterday. I think Boston shows up early. I think they'll fold late, but I do think that Boston, for at least 24 minutes, can actually play well. Give me Boston first half -3.5 at -112. Yeah. For the dog, I gotta do it. Porzingis has been so bad. 15.5 points is wild when he looks like he can't even run. Porzingis, if you want to go for his points, you can find the alt lines here. I'll go with the under 12.5 at +142. In all these games, he's had less than 9 points. He's had less than 10 points in 5 straight. I know he was good against the Knicks the regular season. It's good for him. The guy can't move. He's clearly compromised. I would play Cornette more. That's how bad he's been. Give me Porzingis under on his alt points. Give me the under 12.5 at +142 as my dog. Lonte, moving on to the underdog entry for the show. I'll ask you any initial options, because I know that you mentioned a couple of guys. You mentioned Butler.
We both like Kuminga. I think we should throw Kuminga in there.
You want to go for Kuminga? Okay,
yeah,
I'm fine with that.
For sure.
So Kuminga, if you want to go for his points, that is available at 17.5.
Yeah, I think you'll have to get 20.
I think he has to. And the usage should be there anyway. So we'll go with Kuminga higher on 17.5 points.
Peyton Pritchard threes, like his points, whichever you prefer. I think he's been playing well, man. He's been playing well.
That's really the main problem I have with Mazzulo's rotations recently. Why did he just stop using Pritchard? Pritchard was so good in Game 3. Why did he stop using him in Game 4?
Yeah, I don't get that either.
His threes are at 2.5.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I like that higher.
So we'll go with that higher as well. And then for the last one, what do you want to go with?
That's a good one. Could be up to you, man. What else did you like?
Okay,
you
so Porzingis we could go with, but you know what? I think I'll actually go for a bit of a bolder play if they have the line available. I just want to see if they actually have it. Okay, they do have it. So let me just see what his numbers are without Tatum in the lineup. I thought it'd be a higher hit rate. I was going to go for Jaylen Brown turnovers, actually.
Oh, yeah. I'm always down for that.
It's at 3.5. So I'm fine with that, because Brown might actually play, like 42 minutes in this game, 45 minutes? What else do they have?
48. He might play 48.
He might. He really might. You know what? We'll go for it. I think it's a good spot for some turnovers here. So once again, the entry, we are going to go with 3 choices. We are going to go with the Kuminga, higher 17.5 points. Going to go with the Pritchard, higher 2.5 made threes. And we're going to go with Jaylen Brown, higher 3.5 turnovers. That's going to wrap it up, though, for the entry. It's going to wrap it up for the show. Lonte, anything else you want to add? I know you didn't expect to see me today. So how's it going?
Good.
What's up?
Man, yeah, no, that's it, man. Best of luck to everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Yep. Definitely looking forward to the games tonight. From an unselfish perspective, I hope the Warriors and the Celtics win, because why would I turn down
Extra
more
basketball?
games?
Exactly.
Correct.
I'm with you.
I was rooting for Cleveland yesterday. I picked Indiana, but why would I turn down another game? So we'll see what happens. But either way, that's going to wrap it up. Once again tomorrow, and until